Hello and welcome everyone to the Brooklyn Technical High School Virtual College Fair. We are so glad that you're here with us today. Just a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. Your camera and your microphone are off, so panelists cannot see or hear you today. However, that Q&A function is turned on, so make sure you submit your questions to our presenters. You can submit any questions to any and all of our campuses at any time. You don't have to wait until a certain presenter is speaking. If you have questions for any and all of these institutions, go ahead and use that Q&A button. This is one of many different sessions happening. We have one more time slot happening right after this, so take a look at that schedule and join another session. And this session, along with all of the others, are being recorded. And within about a week, you can catch those recordings at strivescan.com/Brooklyn Tech. I'm putting that URL in the chat for you all now. But now on to our main event. We've got some wonderful institutions here, and I'm excited for you to hear from them. Kicking it off today is Babson College, whenever you're ready.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself before I started sharing my screen, but thank you for having me. My name is Jordan Papula. I'm an assistant director of undergraduate admission with Babson College. Babson College is a small business school about 10 miles outside of the city of Boston. We're about 2,300, 2,400 undergraduate students on campus. And like I said, we are a business school. Everybody at Babson is interested in business. So from the very first time that you step on campus, you know that you will share at least something in common with everybody who is walking around on campus around you. Specifically within the world of business, the nice little niche that we feel is entrepreneurship. We've been ranked #1 for entrepreneurship for 24 years and counting. So it's something that we're pretty proud of. It's also something that we think pretty seriously about. When I ask most students, what does entrepreneurship mean? They talk a lot about, oh, entrepreneurship is starting your own business, it's being your own boss, taking charge of your own life, things along those lines. And that's definitely part of what we talk about when we talk about entrepreneurship. If you're somebody who has started your own business in high school or has dreams of doing that in college or beyond, our Arthur M. Blank School of Entrepreneurial Leadership is definitely going to have a bunch of incubators, accelerators, and other resources to help you do that. But we also like to take a step back and think about entrepreneurship of all kinds, or the idea that you don't need to start a business to be an entrepreneur. We like to take a step back and say, okay, what does entrepreneurship really mean at its core? What are the things that every entrepreneur shares? What are the things that every entrepreneur has in common? And we feel like they can be boiled down to a few essential qualities: creativity, innovation, the willingness to take some smart risks, the willingness to look at problems that the world is facing in a new and unique way. And so often I'll get the question, hey, Jordan, I'm somebody who's interested in business, but I don't necessarily think that I want to start my own business. Do you think Babson is still a place for me? Unequivocally, yes. I feel like if you're somebody who has an interest in business, maybe you have a specific interest and you want to pursue a more traditional career in finance or marketing, something along those lines, you can come to Babson, get a really well-rounded business education, and use the entrepreneurial mindset to your advantage when you graduate and pursue one of those careers post-graduation. Now, of course, if we're sending our students out into the world and we want them to be entrepreneurial leaders, we want them to be change makers, we have to give them the chance to do more than just take notes on lectures and spit them back out on tests. We have to give you the chance to actually put what you're learning in the classroom into practice. And so we have a very hands-on curriculum. There's a number of experiential learning opportunities that you can see on screen right now. I'll talk about one of them, and that is Foundations of Management and Entrepreneurship, or FME. FME is our flagship first-year experience. So it's a class that all first-year students take. It lasts the entire year, and it is structured around starting your own business. So in the first week, you're in the brainstorming phase, and we basically pose the question, what's an issue that you see? Maybe it's in the Babson community, in your home community, even in the global community. And what's a potential solution to that issue? And then your business is going to grow out of that solution. So maybe it's a product, maybe it's a service, maybe it's an app. Whatever it is, you'll take it through the rocket pitch phase where you pitch your idea to your classmates and see if they get on board. They also think it's an exciting idea. You'll take it through the feasibility study phase where you figure out whether this is actually something that is going to be economically viable as a business. And then as you get into spring semester, you will actually launch your business to the Babson community. We give you a loan of up to $3,000 to cover your startup costs. Make sure that you can get inventory, you can pay somebody to code your app, whatever the situation may be. Of course, if you make that money back, we'll ask that you repay it. If you don't, that's perfectly fine as well. This is a class that is really structured around the learning experience of starting your own business, not entirely focused on outcomes. Any profits that you do make, you'll actually partner with a local nonprofit organization to donate some time during the year and your profits at the end of the year to that as well. But FME is really a great chance to dive into the world of business. Maybe you come in saying, hey, I'm really interested in finance. I want to be the chief financial officer. That's great. Maybe you come in and you say, hey, I'm just generally interested in business. I want to see what the different options are. FME meets everybody where you're at and gives you a really good chance to have that hands-on learning experience. And this is part of the reason that 90% of students have at least one internship while at Babson, because they know that they have the actual experience and the actual skills to put what they're learning into practice. More generally in our curriculum, we blend business fundamentals with liberal arts classes. So 50% of the classes will be taken in the liberal arts. We do have a core set of business classes, intro to finance, intro to marketing, macroecon, microecon, classes like that give you a well-rounded business experience. And then we have 27 concentrations to dive into to customize your learning to your career path. So you can take those upper level classes that really prepare you for a career. One of the bigger misconceptions about Babson is that because we're a business school, it's all business all the time. Certainly we have a finance association, a marketing society, everything like that. We also have Division III varsity athletics. About 20% of our campus is involved in Greek life. Our 100+ clubs and organizations run the entire gamut that you would expect to see on a college campus. And then again, we're just 10 miles outside of the city of Boston. So in a very suburban area, but with the perks of the city of Boston just a little bit down the road. And then just quickly at the end here, talking a little bit about financial aid and the application process. For financial aid, we are committed to meeting 100% of demonstrated financial need for all of our domestic students, which is something we're really proud of, trying to make sure that finances are never a reason that you cannot attend Babson. And then as far as the application process goes, we are on the common application. We have a standalone Babson application. We're more than welcome to receive your application whenever you're ready to send it to us. But with that, I will wrap up. And I will put some of my contact information in the chat as well. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Babson College. That was a great way to get us started here. We're going to turn it over now to Swarthmore College whenever you are ready.
All right. Hi, everyone. As I share my screen here. So welcome to Swarthmore College. Swarthmore is a small liberal arts institution located just outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My name is Danny Whittles. I do not actually oversee New York City, at least at this time, but I'm happy to be with you tonight and happy to answer any questions you may have going forward after this evening. As I mentioned, Swarthmore is a small liberal arts college. We do, however, also offer an engineering program that's unusual amongst our liberal arts peers. Even among, compared to our peers, we are on the smaller side with about 1,650 total students. As I mentioned, we are just outside Philadelphia, so we are 11 miles outside the city. And we are highly committed to some of these things that you see here: social justice, access, equity, inclusion, and affordability. That comes out of our Quaker heritage. So you may remember, maybe you took US history and learned about the Quakers a little bit. Maybe you just know the oatmeal company. But Quaker values are really important to who we are in regards to everything that we do. And within a Quaker community, there's a very distinct lack of hierarchical structures. The saying is that nobody's internal light shines brighter or dimmer than any other. And that's really important to the community that we try to create and the college that we are. And that will crop up in a number of ways throughout this presentation and hopefully throughout some of the questions that you ask as well. So I mentioned we're just outside the city of Philadelphia. We do have a train station on campus that takes you into the city. But I think equally as exciting as that is the fact that we have some friends in the area, which is a pun, a Quaker pun for those of you who understand Quakerism. But we are in a consortium with Haverford and Bryn Mawr colleges. Those are also small liberal arts colleges located about 20 minutes away from us. Bryn Mawr was founded and remains to this day an all-women's institution. Haverford was founded as an all-men's institution, though is now co-ed. Swarthmore has been co-ed since day one, so we're kind of the weird cousin that kind of hangs out by itself. But I think what's really nice about TRICO is that anything you have access to at Swarthmore, you also have access to at Haverford and Bryn Mawr. And if you end up being a student at one of those institutions, the opposite also applies. You'd have access to everything at Swarthmore. So that's courses, that's their library, that's speakers that they bring to campus, performances, whatever it is. Perhaps most importantly, it's being able to eat at Bryn Mawr's dining hall. They have the top rated dining hall in the country and serve things like lobster mac and cheese. So there are a lot of opportunities that are available to you at all three of the institutions. And so it's the best of both worlds in that you go to a small liberal arts college with the resources of a larger institution. That said, our campus is a pristine 425-acre arboretum, which means we are a museum for trees, and there's a lot to do at Swarthmore. In fact, we have over 150 different clubs and organizations, again, running the gamut for performance, sports. We have 22 varsity sports teams. The picture you see here on the bottom right is the Crumb Regatta, where students build and race homemade boats down our creek that goes through our arboretum. And I think what's most important about this is that we are what's considered to be a cash-free campus. And so that means any club you join, any performance you go to, any speaker, any sporting event, basically anything on campus is completely free to you as a student. Even laundry and printing are free to you as a student. And we do that for a couple of different reasons. First and foremost, I think the most obvious reason is that it means that you have access to everything. You never have to worry about financial barriers in regards to prohibiting you from accessing a social event on campus or from having clean laundry on campus. But more importantly is that that applies to everyone else. And so regardless of your financial background at home, you will never have to turn down an invitation because you don't have the money, but your friends also will never have to turn down an invitation because they lack funds. And so the conversation is no longer, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go see your performance because I don't have $10 to buy a ticket. Instead, it's, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go see your performance because I hate opera and we're not actually friends, which is a really different conversation, but a really important distinction in comparison to what you might find at other institutions. As I mentioned, we are a liberal arts and engineering institution. We have over 40 different majors. You are going to get that stereotypical liberal arts education. In fact, a majority of your courses, regardless of what you choose to major in, are required to come outside of your major. That's even true for engineering, which makes it a very unusual engineering program. But I think most importantly is that we want you to explore academically. And we have a couple of things set up in order to make sure that that's the case. First and foremost, your first semester at Swarthmore is graded entirely on a pass-fail basis. What happens is that you'll receive shadow grades to illustrate how well you're doing, but those grades never show up on your transcript. Furthermore, we try to remove some of the ammunition that you may find at your current school in order to prohibit students from comparing themselves with the success of other students. So you see here, there's no public GPA. We also don't have any class rank. There's no dean's list. There's no graduating awards or anything. We want students to be focused on the learning, and Swarthmore is a place that prides itself on the intellectual and deep conversations that you're going to have. That's really important and is facilitated by some of those academic policies that we have. I mentioned that we're a cash-free campus. We also have a number of other support systems in place for students of all backgrounds. So our textbook affordability program is really important. Our first gen and low income support systems are really robust. Regardless of what background you might be coming from, chances are you will find support systems in place to help you. And we try to remove those barriers as well when it comes to the application process. Last thing I'll finish up with is we have 3 commitments to financial aid. First and foremost, we are need blind for U.S. citizens, permanent residents, and undocumented and DACA eligible students living in the United States. We guarantee to meet 100% of your need-based, of your financial need, and we do so without including any loans as part of our financial aid package. So there's never a big burden that you'll have to pay back to Swarthmore after you graduate. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. I really appreciate being able to meet you all and hope to be able to answer your questions further this evening. Thanks so much, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Swarthmore College. That was fantastic as well. Okay, as Case Western University gets their presentation all loaded, I just wanted to remind everyone that that Q&A function is on, so make sure you get your questions in. But now turning it over to Case Western University. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is JP O'Hagan. I'm an admission counselor here at Case Western Reserve. I actually also happen to be an alum, so it's my honor to come to all tonight and join this great group of schools and talking about what each of our institutions has to offer. So you got a beautiful shot of campus here. For some basics, and to kick us off, Case Western Reserve is a Tier 1 research institution in Cleveland, Ohio. This is a lovely photo of downtown. With a very diverse class, and we're considered mid-size, about 5,200 undergraduate students. All the advantages of living in a big or mid-size American city. Definitely no New York for sure, but definitely still have those opportunities for professional sports teams. We have the second largest performing arts venue outside of New York City, our own NASA center, and 80% of the Fortune 500 call Cleveland home. And so as a result, an amazing collection of opportunities for our students here at the university. So we have 4 undergraduate colleges, but you'll notice we don't necessarily talk about it in those ways. For us, we love this idea of thinking beyond the possible. And that means really combining different interests for different students. We have such a long name, Case Western Reserve, because we have a pretty unique history. We used to have 2 different schools that have come together to give us Case Western Reserves. We had Western Reserve University, which is a liberal arts school, all about growth and exploration. But then on the Case side, Case Institute of Technology, giving us that the ideas of digging deep into the world's biggest scientific problems. And so it's a little bit of a balancing act between those 2 shared identities here on campus. But as a result, it's a really amazing opportunity for students who do have very unique, very different passions to pursue both at a really high level. Our most common double major is actually music and some type of engineering. My friend Mark, he studied physics and philosophy, which is a combination I still don't quite understand, but he really loved it. So whatever you are really interested in, we encourage you at Case Western Reserve to pursue both of them at a really high level. Students are admitted to the university as a whole rather than to any one specific department. And so as a result, if all you want to do is take a history class for the fun of it, you can do that. If you want to go all the way up to 2 different degrees in 2 very different fields because you're really interested in that combination, you can do that too. And so we always love to talk about kind of the places our students are going. I love to say our students are exceptional, but they're not unique. This is Butter. Butter is a pretty cool guy. Here he is working on his device. It's called SUDS for short. And he's an international student. He's a senior here on campus this year. But last year, he was unable to return home to India because of the pandemic lockdowns. And so as a result, he stayed on campus and he was looking around and saying, you know what, I really wish I could make a difference. And he ended up going over to our ThinkBox facility, which is a really amazing space, the largest makerspace, open access makerspace that we know of anywhere in the country. It's 7 stories completely dedicated to students to be able to, and really anybody in the community as well, to come in and create whatever you could possibly create. So Butter, this device here actually allows a N95 mask to be sanitized in just a minute's time. So a healthcare provider can swap in and out masks when they're going from room to room. So he's actually gotten these into hospitals across the country. And he's working on getting a whole company started around this idea. And so you have that type of approach of students to be able to take advantage of all of the resources offered to students at Case Western Reserve. And then you also have students just utilizing ThinkBox to make a gift for mom, or to, I know a student who 3D printed his resume on really thin pieces of plastic and passed those out at the career fair to how else to make an impact. So this idea of open access to both your different majors or your different interests, but also the resources for internships and research and opportunities and jobs is really important. So this is Chris. Chris is another pretty cool guy. And Chris is a great place to jump off and talking about research. But if anybody can tell me what device Chris is working on, I would really love to know. I've been trying to figure it out for about 6 months now. But Chris here in this photo is He's physics and astronomy, double major, and he was working, when he was an undergrad on campus, he worked with Dr. Chris Mijos down at the Kitt Peaks National Observatory in Arizona. We run a giant telescope down there, and as a result, Chris actually discovered his a previously undiscovered galaxy in the night sky. How cool is that? Minor celebrity as a result, but also as a result, Chris got to interview Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson on Chris's radio show. Chris also has a radio show. That is my favorite part of that story, is that all of the different things that our students love to do in and out of the classroom. But research for us is not just pipettes and test tubes. It's not just machines like this one that I can't figure out what it is, but it spits out the right answer. For us, research is contributing to the world's knowledge in every single field. So that's kind of where that balance comes between the liberal arts and the the case tech side of the equation. So our English majors, our history majors, our business majors, our nursing students, even dance, theater, music, all of our students have an opportunity to research here at Case Western Reserve. And where we're located in Cleveland, we're about 5 miles from downtown, is one of the densest population of arts and culture anywhere in the country. New York, Chicago, LA, all obviously have amazing areas of arts and culture. Ours are nearly just as good, if not better in many cases, and are all right next to each other and are also free. So you've got the Cleveland Museum of Art, which is one of the last great free art museums in the world, located literally across the street from campus. I had a class that I took every Tuesday and Thursday morning, one semester in the Museum of Natural History. You've got the Botanical Gardens, the Museum of Contemporary Art, just the tip of the iceberg. And then we're in one of the densest populations of healthcare providers anywhere in the country. So right across the street, you have University Hospital System. Down the street, you have the third largest Veterans Affairs Hospital, the Lewis Stokes VA. It's also the National Center for Biomedical Engineering Research through the VA. And then right down the street is the Cleveland Clinic, second best hospital in the entire world. And you're right in the middle of it. You have access to all of these things. It's not uncommon for a student to have ID badges to all 3 major hospitals, which is super cool. And so I love to joke. It's not a great joke, but Cleveland's a great place to get sick. There's more doctors in the 1 square mile around campus than there are undergraduate students. But all of this, again, is really just the tip of the iceberg for what Case Western Reserve and Cleveland in general have to offer. And so we're really big about that interdisciplinary approach, those resources and those research opportunities. And then the experiential learning, whether it is the fact that our nursing students get twice the national average of clinical hours, or it's the fact that we're one of 12 certified co-op programs in the country, or our students doing, 40% of our students doing research, doing work abroad. You've got all sorts of different ways to really maximize the opportunities at Case Western Reserve. And so finally,
Case Western, I'm so sorry, we have to wrap up here. Let people know how they can learn more about your campus.
Well, I was at. Thank you, Janine.
Okay, perfect. So it looks like we're going to get some information in the chat on the wonderful offerings at Case Western Reserve University. And now we are going to turn it over to the University of Tampa. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys all so much for joining us here today. Let me just share my screen real quick. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So thank you guys so much again. My name's Alexandra. I'm one of the admissions counselors at UT, and I do work with New York students. So if you need anything at all throughout the application process, I am more than happy to help. So to give you some background information about the school, of course, we're located right in Tampa, Florida, right in downtown, actually. Even though you can't really tell, on the other side of the river that you can see there in the picture is the downtown area. So it's a short 5-minute walk across the bridge, and you have access to really great restaurants, museums, internship opportunities, and so much more. Of course, I'd be remiss to not mention the Tampa Bay area that we are in. So we have our local Buccaneers, our NFL team, and our NHL team, the Lightning, who both won the Super Bowl and Stanley Cup this past year. Both teams celebrated their championships on the river right next to campus. So it was so much fun for our campus and our students to be a part of those celebrations. So hopefully you'll be able to come down and take part in that as well. Just to mention some background about the school itself, we are a medium-sized university with just under 10,000 students, which represent all 50 states in over 130 different countries. So you really will be meeting students from all over the world right here on campus. We like to say that campus is an urban environment, but still with a traditional college campus feel, as there are no major roads that run through campus, but you still have the access to the city. So you can walk from your classes to the dining hall to the dorm without worrying about traffic or anything like that. We are a private university, meaning we're the same price for in-state and out-of-state students. We're independent, meaning we have no religious or political affiliation, although we do have a chapel on campus that's available for anyone to use, and we are a liberal arts school as well. So outside of your major, you'll be taking classes in a variety of different subjects. We are NCAA Division II, and we have 20 varsity sports. If you're interested in playing a sport, let me know. I'd be happy to connect you with one of the coaches as they handle recruitment and athletic scholarships. We were rated a top tier regional university in the South by US News and World Report, and we were also rated best college location in Florida by Niche in 2020. Like I mentioned, Florida is a really cool, or Tampa, I should say, is a really cool city to be in. There's so much to see and do both on and off campus, and so many different opportunities to get involved. Now, to mention academics real quick, our average class size is about 22 students, so probably something you're used to in high school. Our faculty to student ratio is 1 to 17, and all of our classes are taught by professors. None are taught by TAs or grad students. Our professors are also very accessible, so if you need any extra help after class, they all hold office hours outside of their classroom hours, so they're definitely accessible and want to see you succeed. 90% of our faculty have a PhD or terminal degree, so you'll be learning from the best of the best. Many of them even still work in their fields, so they can be great resources when it comes to finding internship opportunities. We do have over 200 areas of study to choose from, so there's plenty to choose from and lots of time to figure it out. Of course, you could pick up a minor or a double major if that's something you're interested in doing. And I wish I had all night to talk about all of our different majors because they're all so great. But just to mention, our top most popular ones would probably be nursing, business, and marine biology. Given our proximity to Tampa Bay, of course, that's a huge bonus. We really emphasize an experiential education here at UT. So we want our students to get that real world hands-on opportunity. You can see in all the pictures there ways that students can get involved outside of the classroom. Of course, we have undergraduate research opportunities starting as early as freshman year. So we really want our students to dive in headfirst and have all of these great opportunities. Of course, there's tons of internship opportunities as well, right in downtown Tampa, right where we're located. Many students even walk to their internships because we are so close. We hold lots of different networking events and career fairs on campus, so you can get to know some of the local employers in the area. We do also offer over 1,000 different study abroad programs in about 60 different countries. Then you can do the traditional semester abroad, but we also have this really cool option called travel courses. If you don't want to leave for the full semester, or maybe have a very rigorous course schedule which doesn't allow you to go for the full semester, the travel course you take on campus during the semester, and then over summer or winter break, you travel for 2 to 3 weeks to that country that you just learned everything about, which is a really cool option. We definitely want our students to love where they live and learn. So right on campus, we have 27 different dining options available with your meal plan. So everything from Starbucks, Dairy Queen, Chick-fil-A, Einstein Bagel Brothers, our Ultimate Dining Cafeteria, and many other options as well. We do have over 300 clubs and organizations for students to get involved with, everything from academic-based clubs, hobby-based clubs, student government, Greek life. There's definitely something for everybody that you can find that you would love to be a part of. We also have lots of club and intramural sports. If you don't want to play at the collegiate level, those are a lot of fun to get involved with your friends as well. All right, just to mention our application deadlines real quick, we do not have early decision at UT, so all of our deadlines are non-binding. We have 2 rounds of early action, and it typically takes about a month to get a decision back. Applications open in September, and of course, the earlier you can get it in, the better. And what we'll need in your application is your official high school transcript, a personal essay, and at least 1 recommendation letter. We are test optional through spring of 2023. So for my juniors who are applying for fall of 2022, we will not be requiring your SAT or ACT score to be included in your application. I'll definitely make sure to drop my contact information in the chat. So if you have any questions, I'm very excited to talk with you each one-on-one to get to know more about you, and so to tell you more about the school as well. We are holding in-person tours currently as well as through the summer, so we would love to have you come and visit. Once it's safe for you and your family, if you feel comfortable, we would love to have you on campus so you can come and visit the beautiful sunny state of Florida. Thank you guys all so much for listening to me tonight, and I hope you have a great night. Talk soon.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, University of Tampa. Okay, I'm going to do one last plug for that Q&A function. Go ahead and get those questions in for all of our presenters. But now we're going to turn it over to Columbia College Chicago. Take it away when you're ready.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Getting this up and going. Awesome. Thank you everybody for joining all of us today. My name is Jasenia Sanchez. I am one of the National Admissions Officers here at Columbia, and going to talk to you a little bit about our institution. I also am an alum. I moved out to Columbia and to Chicago from New Jersey back in 2013, and then ended up staying because it was that great. So the picture you're looking at right now is a picture from campus. We are in downtown Chicago in the South Loop neighborhood, right near many businesses, museums, different kind of companies that students can intern at. And if you know the Bean, I always love to plug the Bean because it's one of my favorite places to go sit at. But this is definitely a great picture to kind of get the idea of we are an urban campus in downtown Chicago. We are a college for creatives. Columbia is a school that really combines creative and media arts, liberal arts, and business expertise. Through our curriculum, you'll really experience rigorous academics, hands-on learning, a lot of collaboration, and career preparation. We incorporate business, marketing, and entrepreneur skills into your education because, well, we really feel like these skills are transferable and can prepare you for countless paths within your industry. We are also home to around 7,000 students, mostly undergraduate with like a small population of graduate students. In fall 2020, we welcomed around 1,700 new freshmen and transfer students to campus, which is very exciting. We are also proud to offer small class sizes and a low faculty to student ratio. Our average class size is 18 students. Of course, as with any average, there are some larger classes that are typically in your first year, while some of your more specialized and advanced classes in your major will be even smaller than 18. Now, what's great is that these small class sizes really allow for improved access to faculty members to get that one-on-one experience, development of group projects, I mentioned collaboration before, and really networking with peers, faculty members, and professionals in the field that you're studying to really help launch successful paths. Now, we have over 60 majors and programs in fields like visual arts, performing arts, media and digital arts, communication and writing, music and sound, and business and management. If any of these catch your eye, anything from animation to advertising, marketing, creative writing, photography, film and TV, you can go to colum.edu/majors to actually get more information on what do the programs look like, what is the curriculum for that specific program, the kinds of projects and hands-on experience you're going to get for that specific major. You can also learn more about the programs and curriculums through a lot of different events that we have going virtually, which you hear more about some of the opportunities. We do offer some select programs as BFA or BMUS, and these programs are more credit intensive and have some different requirements to apply into, versus our BA programs don't require any kind of portfolio or interview process unless you wanted to go for our portfolio-based scholarship. But all of our BAs, you're like applying into the college if you're applying into the BA. And then the BFAs and the BMUs do have some different requirements that you would receive more details when the time comes. Minors are also encouraged. We offer a wide variety of creative and practical minors that really complement majors. Some examples include teaching artists, intellectual property management, writing for television, hip hop studies, graphic design, stage combat. It's about finding the one that you feel best fits your major. Now, our goal really is to foster a creative learning environment for our students, an environment that isn't just in classes, but extends to clubs, resident centers, and the city of Chicago itself, of course. We really do understand the creative student. We know what you need. We know how you live, how to encourage you, how to support you, how to propel you and your work. On the slide, you see different facilities that assist students in, again, getting that hands-on experience throughout your college process. Students have access to these facilities to put their skills to work and really expand their portfolio from the very beginning. We have our own theaters to put on musicals and shows, studios to record your own music, sets and cameras to do your own films. Your time at Columbia really is about so much more than just the time you spend in the classroom. As a student, you'll participate in ensembles, rehearsals, studio time, real life projects that really directly relate to your coursework and your future career. And of course, if you're interested in joining clubs or organizations, we have more than 85, ranging from volunteer organizations to groups like Black Student Union and Latino Alliance that are all part of the creative learning environment. Now, one of the things I love to highlight is about our career development and our career center. Our students, faculty members, and alumni have a great presence in Chicago's creative workplaces. While Columbia is very student focused, we want our students to really be job focused. Career preparation is integrated from really the very first day, not just at the end of your college journey. It occurs both in and out of the classroom, with many career services and resources available for students in our career center. As students build their bodies of work, staff in the Career Center will provide individual career counseling, assisting in personal brand, business cards, and resumes, and learning about more internship opportunities in the city. Now, just to wrap up, these are the different things that we have going on, and you can find at colum.edu/virtual, our virtual tours to dive deeper into the city and what you have access to, and our one-on-one chats with admissions counselors, so that way you can kind of do all the nitpicking and all those questions that you really want to get into, so that you can know more about your situation and the opportunities available to you. This is my contact info. You can either take a picture, and of course, I'll also drop it in the chat so that you could have it for any questions in the future. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. Take care.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Columbia College Chicago. Okay, well, we have such a great group of institutions here that I want to take advantage of having all of these experts in one place. So I am going to share my screen very quickly and ask all of my colleagues to join me on video here for a really important question for everyone joining us today. And that is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? We're going to go ahead and go in the same order. So I'm going to ask Babson College to start us off again.
Sure thing. So I think the biggest piece of advice that I would give is that as you're looking at schools, looking at different options, you have to think about who you are as a student. You also have to think about just who you are as a person, because the school that you're at is not just going to be a place that you're in the classroom. It's likely going to be a place that you spend a lot of time outside of the classroom, and possibly a place that you live as well. You can think about that in terms of where you want to be, what size community you want, and also who you want to be surrounded by. So at Babson, we have a very fast-paced community, people who are always looking for the next thing, always looking to branch out, always looking for something else to get involved in. If that isn't the type of community that excites you, that's okay. Babson probably isn't the place for you. There are other schools with different vibes, but just encourage you to think about both the in-classroom experience and the experience that you're going to be having outside of the classroom, and stay true to who you are as a person.
Awesome. Great advice to get us started here. Swarthmore College, what is your advice?
Yeah, so Jordan talked a little bit about kind of the beginning of the process. I'll talk a little bit about the end of the process. So this is especially applicable for any of you who are looking at highly selective schools like Swarthmore is, but regardless of what college you apply to, the ultimate decision that you get isn't inherently reflective of your worth or your value. Especially at highly selective schools, we have far more students that are qualified for Swarthmore than we have space available. And so ultimately it comes down to that specific institution's needs and priorities. If you're really interested in business, you may have a really great shot at Babson, probably not as good of a shot at Swarthmore since we don't have a business program. But that applies to all sorts of other things. So what school you come from, what your background is, what your interests are, what you might want to major in. And that's the reason you're going to apply to 6 or 8 or 12 or whatever obscene number of schools you end up applying to, is because what Swarthmore needs is different than what Case needs. And that's different than what Columbia College might need. And, ultimately, getting into one school or another does not make you a better person or a better student. Instead, it just is reflective of what that school's needs were in that given year, and how you might have fit those needs at that time. And the decision you receive might have been different last year or next year, but you applied in this specific year, and that's the decision that you got from that one college.
Awesome. Well, you know it's good advice when you see all of the videos shaking in agreement with you. So thank you for that, Swarthmore College. Case Western Reserve University, what is your advice?
So Danny took mine, but in all seriousness, I always like to remind students kind of how to put the best foot forward to, while keeping Danny's advice in mind, which is to say, really think critically about who you are and what you can bring to a campus and put that forward in your applications. Students get really caught up on grades and test scores. You can't control your past grades, you can only control your future grades. And what you really can control in your applications are your letters of recommendation and your essay. Right? If Case Western Reserve needs a cellist player and you're not already a cellist player, you're not magically going to become a top tier cellist player between now and next fall when you apply. But at the same time, what you do have that control over is that essay and those letters of recommendation. So don't ask your AP chemistry teacher, because it's going to look really good that I'm an AP Chem this year as a senior, if you only met them a month earlier. They probably don't really know who you are yet. They see you in class, but they might not necessarily know who you really are. If the person who knows you best in your high school is your freshman English teacher, because you had to come in every single day for a month to get your writing from a 6th grade level to a high school level, I want it from that person. They really know what makes you tick and what would make you a good fit at whatever institution you're applying to. And then for your essay, students think it needs to be this landmark piece of American literature that they're writing as their college essay. I would really much rather know who you are and what makes you special. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm guilty of having written the I'm an Eagle Scout, it taught me leadership essay. That's the point of the program. Every Boy Scout has that experience. Some of my favorite essays are, one of my favorites of all time, I always like to leave with is a student who said, here I was listening to lecture 327 in a series I did not sign up for, part 12 of the benefits of sleep from my mother. And it's about him getting nagged for staying up too late doing his homework by his mom on the way to school the next morning. Who hasn't had that experience? But it was an amazing, he really talked about what was important to him and his family. They're an immigrant family, and reflected on all his mom had done for him and his siblings. It's a really sweet and touching, really simple essay. So really look for those little things that you think are really important, even if it's really only important to you.
Awesome. Wonderful advice. Thank you so much, Case Western Reserve. Okay, University of Tampa, what is your advice?
My advice would be to, if possible, go and visit the school that you're applying to, especially when you get down to the wire, maybe your top 3 choices. You have to make sure that it's going to be the right fit. When you walk onto campus, does it feel like you're home? That's going to be the most important part, because like some of my colleagues said tonight, you're going to be spending a lot of time outside of the classroom as well. And so you want to make sure that everything it has to offer outside of the classroom, you're going to benefit from as well. Of course, academics are important, but making sure you feel at home and it's really the right fit is also a very important part of the process.
Absolutely. Okay. And then Columbia College, Chicago, what is your advice for us?
To kind of echo a little bit of everything everyone said, treat this as the investment that it is. That's what I tell my students. I think sometimes, yes, the natural next step for many students, not everyone, for many, is to go to college and pick a college and study something. And sometimes we lose the importance of what this is. There's a lot of time, energy, and money you're going to put into this institution for the next couple years. And so you want to make sure that you do go visit, that you do ask questions, and you make sure you're being true to who you are. Like all these things everyone's saying, because it's an investment in yourself, and you want to make sure that you're making the best investment in yourself. With that, take care of yourself through the process, because it's very tedious and very long and stressful. So just make sure you continue to take care of yourself.
Awesome. Thank you. Sometimes it can be hard to go last on that question, but you did a wonderful job. So thanks for closing that up for us. All right. Well, it has been such a pleasure to learn a little bit about each of these campuses, as well as their advice for you. This has been one of the best panels I have had the pleasure to enjoy as it relates to this question on the college search. I think you got some really comprehensive and useful information. So thank you all so much. And I want to thank all of our attendees as well, whether you are here live or you are catching this recording. We hope that you learned something about each of these campuses, and you'll do a little Googling after we finish up here. I want to remind everyone that there is still one more session happening in this Brooklyn Tech event. So make sure you take a look at who else is presenting after this and join in another time slot. But keep in mind that this session, along with all of the others, have been recorded and they will be available to you within about a week at strivescan.com/Brooklyn Tech. One last comment is that when you close out your window today, you're going to get a very quick 4-question survey. Any information that you can provide about this event and how to make it better would be most appreciated. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.